Hello everyone, on this video I'm gonna talk about Scarface, who is my favorite Predator on the Predator franchise, as well as many fans, and to be honest, I think it's expected, because there is not that much competition here, especially if you focus more not on the actual Predator design and how he looks like, which I actually think he has one of the best ones. He got a mask similar to Celtic, which is one of my favorites, and an armor that looks like a cross between the designs from the first Predator movie and AVP 2004. But I would say what makes him really stands out is more in regards to his feats, performance and character. I mean, as much as a Predator can be a character in a movie or a video game, in a novel it's easier because authors can have sections which are told by the Predator point of view, so we can go inside the Predator's mind, which in some occasions have humanized them a little too much, but in others like the novels South China Sea and the Predator novelizations, I think they are done great. But comparing to the Predators in other games, Scarface was the only one really where we could see some sort of personality and character development, even showing some dark humor as we go through his redemption arc, which I think is mainly what makes him relatable as a character more than the other ones. Despite him being a alien hunter that kills people for sport, he's humanized in a good way actually. First, something that helps with getting to his mind is the narrator of the game, Isabella Borgia. She acts like how an author does in a Predator novel with a Predator character on it, telling what is going through his mind, giving more information about what is happening within the setting, and her own views on it.
So the hunter returned to the hunt. This was a different jungle from that which it had left behind, and the natives had forged new weapons from the hunting gear it had foolishly dropped 100 years ago. I imagine how it must have burned at the devil, having survived a century of whatever hellish exile its kind used as punishment. To be sent back here with only the tools of an unblooded youngster, to have to prove itself all over again.
So despite this silent protagonist type that many games have, the dialogue of the narrator helps making him into a character. He does talk in a way, mainly by using the recordings of his prey against itself. Predators can record sounds and replay those recordings as we have seen in the movies, but unlike other Predators, he seems to have a better understanding of human language, and he uses it to mock his victims. He says lines that fit very well into the context of what is happening, as he uses it to make fun of his opponent as he goes to kill him, which shows he has some sort of sense of humor. Like how he mocks this former hooker. Yeah, there are hookers on this game, don't ask me why. About her making things to men that others wouldn't believe, by repeating that same sentence by referring to the ways that he has killed men. Then making fun of this gang leader that didn't get to come. Literally. He's a troll and maybe a little mentally unbalanced. I mean, imagine after you spend like a decade living in isolation on a desert planet with only things that want to kill you. That should be able to affect the mind of even a Predator. Human language is probably something that he had a lot of time to learn when he was exiled for 100 years. Not much to do after you are done killing out the bug creatures in a desert planet in the shit end of the galaxy. And that event is the big thing on the storyline that sets up Scarface as a more interesting character than most Predators. This time, he's not here for hunting, he's in a mission. A personal mission to regain his honor, to redeem himself for his past mistakes. And all of this starts by him choosing to use the self-destruct of his ship instead of the one from his wrist computer when he was injured in a hunt in 1930. Most Predators in those situations just self-destruct themselves and embrace their loss and death by laughing their ass off, as we have seen in the movies. They seem to not fear death from what we have seen, while Scarface did. So he's punished for it, not only for failing at going kamikaze, but for letting his Predator technology get into human hands. So he's not the usual Predator, he's worse. He starts the game as a dishonorable coward with one eye. Even physically, he's worse than the other Predators, and he loses one eye due to his own mistake of letting his guard down while he was trying to show off that he was the boss of the city, the alpha male, by showing the head of the gangster that he just killed to the guy's wife that just gave birth, and then he gets shot in the eye. And all of that leads to the creation of the Borgia company that is led by Hunter Borgia, and injuries that led to his own downfall and exile. He was a dumbass, and that's relatable, because I'm pretty sure most people go through their lives moments which they think they're doing dumb things. Making mistakes, injuring yourself permanently, being reminded of it for the rest of your life, have the consequences of your actions carved in your skin, being afraid of death, not being good enough. That's relatable for a good amount of people. That's interesting. Scarface is not the perfect killing machine. He's full of flaws. He made a lot of mistakes, which can make you as the player in the game relate to his situation that you're in, you know? And so 100 years later, our redemption arc begins. Scarface is better now, and he has the right mindset in regaining his honor, by taking down those responsible for using re-engineered predator technology and using against his species. He goes into an investigation by hunting the local gangs that are using the tech to find out that the Borgia family are the ones responsible, which makes it all fit, while killing everyone involved in crime in Neonopolis to assert his dominance in the hunting grounds and move up on the food chain, while also killing some hookers in the process. I mean, they are kinda involved into the whole situation with the gangs and the predator technology. I know this game can get pretty crazy with some stuff. People are gonna say, you're giving way too much credit to the character Scarface. And I mean, goddammit, how many Predator games do we have again? This is what we have, so leave me. Until that moment, he's dominating on the concrete jungle. Even when he gets into contact with Borgia soldiers, he's doing pretty well until the Monster Squad, which they're like cyborgs. Even though he's defeated once again, this time it takes an army of genetically altered cyborg superhumans to bring him down. Hunter had already commented how he wasn't the average Predator. It's not like the other ones that they have dealt with before. He had to go all out and send everything to bring him down, and that only makes Scarface looks good in regards to his feats. After the capture, he probably felt humiliated once again, but since he's not the average Predator, he managed to escape and tries to again to kill his enemies, while saving a bunch of other captured Predators in the process and killing the Predator cyborgs that were sent against him, putting his former claymates out of their misery of being controlled by the humans, and destroying armies of mercenaries, cyborgs and samurais, until he meets the one that took everything from him way back in 1930, Isabel, the woman that shot him in the eye and gave him the nickname Scarface. And she throws a bunch of aliens at him. Don't ask me where the aliens come from, I'm still wondering about that. But well, Scarface kills them and manages to confront her personally. And she tells him that she has been in love with him for the last 100 years, ever since their first and last encounter. And that might seem very silly at first, but judging by the kind of woman that she was, meaning as she was the wife of a violent psychopathic gangster named Bruno Borgia, the alpha male that was conquered the concrete jungle that was his corrupt city. So when a bigger alpha male came in and took his head, she got wet for it. Imagine someone's cut off the head of your husband, father of your child, and you get attracted to it. That's the kind of woman that gets attracted to bad boys like Bruno. So Scarface is the first Predator that we know of to make a human fall in love with him, and being the Sigma Chat that he is, he replies by killing and mocking her with the voice mimicry.
I never did get over you.
I promised you a night to remember, baby. Didn't I promise?
That's my boy. That's the best Predator ever! The interesting thing is how all of this relates to Hunter, in a way that Scarface even brings up at the end, to mock his prey as the usual thing that he does, is that in a certain way, he kinda fathered Hunter. As Isabel says that she's the mother, Scarface is the father not only as they are the ones responsible for the whole situation on the city, but also for Hunter's existence. As Hunter was born a sick child which only managed to survive due to getting Scarface's blood on him, because on this game as well as in some comics, Predator blood is what makes the Predators live for so long, and it can also make other creatures live longer as well when they get in contact with it. The Borgias are also shitting death itself. Hunter is 100 years old, Isabel is like 130 maybe, so Scarface's blood runs through his veins, like as if he was his son. But Hunter denies that by idealizing his father Bruno instead, despite Isabel and Scarface knowing the reality. So there is like this father-mother-son symbolism between the four characters of Scarface, Bruno, Isabel and Hunter. Maybe I'm looking too deep into this shit. People are gonna say, oh, this is just a dumb game where a Predator gets to kill hookers. But I don't care. I thought it was interesting. This is as deep as Predator has gotten, so shut up. Scarface completes his mission. He gets his revenge against the Borgia family, killing Isabel, taking Hunter's head after he becomes a human Predator hybrid. He becomes the boss of the city. He reaches the top of the food chain. He survives, unlike most Predators, gets his redemption. Now his clan is gonna forgive him, I guess. His honor is back. And he kinda saves a good amount of humans in the process as well, because the Borgia were evil as fuck, involved in many criminal activities, responsible for selling Predator technology in wars, making the world a worse place, capturing, torturing, experimenting on both humans and Predators. They are like comic book villain territory, and they are still going bigger. They had aliens, they had an army, they had Predator technology, they are like making more stuff from it, they are evolving. It felt like in some decades, with that much power and probably political influence, they could try to take over Earth. They are like what Weyland-Yutani was still trying to become even centuries after, which is something I have seen people complain about, that the borders were a little bit too over the top. But regardless, Scarface stopped them before things could get worse. He's a hero, even if it wasn't really his intentions to save the world. His feats in the game are quite impressive, he takes such a high amount of strong enemies, but he's not perfect. Even then, he still goes through failures, he overcomes them, and he wins. Inspirational Predator. Do I need to say more? Where is my sequel? I just would like to see a Scarface appearance again. Doesn't even have to be in a game, you know, in an actual sequel game to this. Maybe in a comic. They made, I believe, 2 anthology Predator novels by now. You know, each chapter is like a different storyline, it's a different story involving Predators. Why not make one of those stories about Scarface? Is that too much to ask? Come on. It is a shame we didn't get to see more of him. Well, this was my video about my favorite Predator. I hope you guys liked it. See you next time.